We are verticutting greens, and tomorrow we are going to fertilize. So you can see it's early spring here. Man, this iPhone really picks up good light. Really makes everything look worse than what it is. But see, we're verticutting here tonight, and tomorrow we are going to fertilize. So it's just before May here. I believe it's April 28th, April 29th, and I needed to do this. I needed to fertilize, and I needed to verticut, and it sucks because I am bringing up all of the sand that I just put down last fall, and then the mower's going over it, but it needed to be done. So now we are just picking all this sand up and with the mower, and then we're gonna do some granular fert tomorrow. I don't have irrigation going yet, so I made the decision to do it before the rain that is coming tomorrow, or even if it is raining, I still need to put it down because I need my aeration holes to fill in better. So that's kind of the plan as it is right now. So tune back in tomorrow, I guess, for more updates here on my golf course. All right, folks, we got up early, although we didn't get up as early as I wanted to. So now we're just dealing with the backlash of that. And it is raining out, although it's not raining as hard as I would have liked. So that is okay, actually. We can deal with these few little drops here. The plan for today, as you can see, so last night I verticut, and then I also mowed greens till about 10 o'clock. So I actually had my girlfriend mow greens, and for those of you who mow greens, you realize that you're supposed to dump your buckets. So not only did I verticut, I kicked up a lot of sand because, as you remember, I aerated last fall, late September, and then I took basically the whole month of October to top dress. So I kicked up a lot of sand. So, I mean, you really had to dump your buckets after almost every green or every 3/4 of green. So she didn't dump the rear bucket at all. And if you realize, that is my brand new greens mower. So I'm hoping there's nothing wrong with that rear cutting unit, the rear reel, or the bed knife, or the whole cutting unit as a whole. It almost looked like the grass was burnt a little bit where the middle cutting unit was. Of course, this was late last night, so I couldn't quite tell. There was no sunlight. So I'm really hoping that there's no grass burning, because that wouldn't look good. That wouldn't look good at all. So I guess the only thing we can do is when we get there, we could just take a look and see. But today the plan is I have to be done around 11. I'm getting there early. That gives me basically 5 hours of straight work. If I work really hard, I can get it done. I have to put some greens grade fert on. I believe it's 1806. I have to look again to make sure, but I believe it's 1806. Otherwise, it's 25025, but I believe it's 1806. I haven't looked at it, but I decided to go the granular route instead of the Aquaritin route. As much as I love Aquaritin, I decided to go the granular route because of the fact that I probably listen. Tomorrow it's going to be low mid 40s for a high. Maybe upper 40s, I guess, if we're lucky. And then Sunday, we're supposed to get a chance of snow. It's going to be mid 40s for a high that day. And then Monday, it's going to be low 40s for a high. Although I do have to mow on Monday. At least roll the greens because we do have men's league. So I got basically 2 straight days of possible rain coming up. And I don't have my irrigation system going yet, so that should give the fertilizer good time to soak into the earth without having me have to worry about picking it up with the mower. And we're going to fertilize that. I do have some Scott's or equivalent weed and feed with some dicamba in it. I don't know if it has quinclorac. I looked at the label. I just can't remember right now. But it does have some 2,4-D dicamba, so I'm going to throw that down on the front of my property where my lawn is. And also, I am going to throw down some of that in front of the building, kind of around it, where the weeds and grass kind of grow intermingled, and there's not very much, there's not very strong root growth for the grass. So I'm going to throw a little bit of that down today, see what happens with it. I may throw some down on the tee boxes too, although I'm not sure yet. On some of the problem tee boxes, I very well could do that with the granular or with the weed and feed. But I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do. I have a plethora of it, so I'm going to start with those problem areas first and then work from there. So that's kind of step one. Goal on today is to get done with all the fertilizing. I wouldn't mind doing tee boxes either, to tell you the truth. It just depends kind of how much time that I have and what I'm willing to do. Next, I have to do some quick stuff with my car, the 300 SRT8 that I got, and that should only take about 15 minutes to do. And then the final thing here is to basically backlap that greens mower and get it all set up again. That was my third time mowing at 0.140. So if I get time today, and this weekend I will have plenty of time as well, I am going to lower the cutting units down to 0.130. That will be the lowest that the golf course has ever been mown at. I either want to go down to 0.130 or 0.128, but we're going to try 0.130 first and kind of go from there. I'm really hoping that this fertilizer improves pigment color along with tissue growth, and kind of propagates the grass basically to move into those holes that of course the aeration holes that I did last fall. I'm having some issues with that actually, and I'm not too impressed on how it's going. So I'm really hoping that this fertilizer allows that grass to propagate and grow into those holes. And that is one of the problems with doing aeration, especially what I did, 5/8 inch and deep tine aeration later in the season. You basically miss, usually a lot of aeration is done on a course that can have the manpower to do it, is done a couple times a year, but mainly it is done around Labor Day, right after Labor Day. So I wasn't able, of course, to do it on Labor Day this year because I do aeration basically by myself. I have my father help me out for a little bit of it, but I do 85% of the work myself. So I take that back, 90 probably. So I'm just not sure what I'm going to do this year. The greens definitely needed to be deep tined the last 2 years. I don't know if I'm going to solid tine aeration this year. I'm just not totally sure yet, but that would save a huge process of not having to pick up the cores, which is nice. But I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I got really good, and it sucks I had to verticut, but it's just something you have to do to help propagate the growth. But I did, I guess I was impressed with how much sand I was able to actually get on the greens. The deep tine aeration, look at those yard birds, car ruiners. I was impressed with how much sand I was able to get on the greens and how much sand I actually was kicking up with the verticutter. So I'm going to verticut up until May 15th, probably another 1 or 2 times here. And And then we'll just leave it, of course, leave it till fall. And, that just opens the earth up a little bit, allows more water to soak in, which is freaking awesome on a day like today, especially with fertilizing. So I did the right thing. I guess the only big thing I'm worried about is my greens mower. I hope that those reels are okay. I hope that the bed knives are okay. That would really suck if they weren't. So we are just gonna see how it is and go from there. So I've already got the spreader calibrated here. It's right at the 13 setting. And as a matter of fact, man, the iPhone picks up light great. As a matter of fact, I do have some 18018 greens grade fertilizer. So we've got nitrogen, some potash, and then some other minerals here, ingredients, nutrients for the grass. So I've got to run back to the shop and get another. Oh no, we've got more greens grade here. So this is what we're going to spread on the greens and the fringes. So now we are going to look at the spreader setting here. It's pretty wet, so this shouldn't have a lot of dust on it, although it is important to basically have all your protectant on. I'm protected from head to toe, and we're going to see how dusty this is today, and then if we need to grab a mask, we will. But of course, there's no Cub Cadet spreader on there. But we are putting on roughly, I believe, let's see, we got 50 pounds. It takes 5 pounds or 5 bags of this to do the 10 greens, which is 50,000 square feet. So that is 250 pounds. So if we do some simple math, I believe that's 5 pounds. I could be maybe wrong on that. I'm going to do some mental math here quick. So doing some mental math, which the mental math was right in front of me the whole time, that's about 4 pounds per 1,000 square feet. And because we do about 50,000 square feet here, so that would be about 4 pounds. 200 pounds is the poundage that I'm using, and then that equals out to about 4 pounds. So we're going to get started here. We're going to join back up on one of the greens on the back side of the course and see how everything looks. So we made our first pass here on the green. You can see the tire marks. And although green looks a little burnt, maybe from my Verticutter, we're just going to follow the line of where the fertilizer was put down before. And, the last pass I did. And just keep applying it. I did have to make a little bit of a change here from the 13 setting to about the 12 and a half setting, just to ensure that I have enough product left to do all the greens, although we do have an extra bag, so it should be okay. And I do honestly like to get a little bit of over fertilization, not in terms of the actual product putting down, but just off to the sides a little bit. Makes everything look a little bit better. And making another pass here. Last pass I'll make will be over there. You can see we're getting a little low, but that's okay. Just fill her up with a new bag. Making our last pass on this half of the green. And then we'll have to fill up with some new stuff. After doing some further inspection on the greens here, they do look really good, really healthy. The one thing I do say though, looking at them, I haven't fertilized this yet either, so it's okay to touch it. But the cutting units were almost tearing when they were trying to cut because they need to be backlapped. So that's next on the list today. But I do have to say what I think caused a lot of this was actually the verticutter, and you can see along the lines of the verticutter here where the grass is actually burnt, where it was torn. And then you pair that with sand on the green, and then you pair that with the inability of the reels to get a good cut, and now you've got burnt grass all over the place basically, which sucks. So you can really see there that the grass, there is a lot of sand on there. You know, at first I thought, oh my gosh, it's a hydraulic leak, but you can really see after looking at it how the grass is burnt basically, where it wasn't cut well and where it wasn't verticut well. So you can see that was a combination of the front rollers on my verticutter not being well, the verticutting unit itself tearing instead of cutting, and then the mowing unit not being able to fine cut that down. And that's what we got going on here. You know, it's accentuated here when you look, when you're going against the grain. When you're going with the grain, it doesn't look so bad, but then of course when you switch it around, it looks a little worse. But look at the size of these night crawlers here. This thing's stretched out. I wear a size 12 boot. This bugger, or size 10 boot. This bugger's as big as my boot. Oh man, look at the size of this goddamn night crawler. Unreal. Wow. Night crawlers are big. You got good night crawlers out here, and boy, I tell you, when I mow these things over, I hate to do it. They're great for fishing. I mean, look at the size of some of these crawlers. But anyway, I'm not overly worried. You can see some snow mold here emerged throughout the winter time, and that was due to this green, and that green being one of my last greens that I actually sprayed. But overall, I was pretty upset last night. Overall, in the daytime, I'm not as upset. So what can I say? It turned out good. After we get the rain this weekend and this fertilizer, these greens are going to perk right up. What you're seeing here is little aeration spots. Of course, the iPhone makes it worse than what it is. So these will eventually grow in when the grass can, you know, propagate through. So we're going to continue to fertilize here, and then we're going to move on to fertilizing tee boxes next. So we are going to apply actually these weed feeds here. Right now, where the clover and the dandelions are just starting to come up. So one of these is a 2003, one of them's a 2508. I mean, basically the same thing, really. I mean, what I'm looking for is the active ingredients here. So we've got the all those big words that I'm looking for. Dicamba. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Hey, I'm a golf course superintendent. I don't really know all those words, but that's okay. I know what to look for here, and that's basically dicamba. 2,4-D, which, yeah, there we go. Dichlorophenoxyacetic acid. 2,4-D in layman's terms, such as mine. And this also has dicamba, 0.108%, and that has dicamba, 0.080%. This has 2,4-D of 0.162%. This has 2,4-D of 1.040%. So what we're going to have to do here, the Menards brand is actually better than the Estate brand. The Estate brand is really shitty, and that's why I bought it for the golf course here, because either way it's going to work. But I took the nice stuff back to my house. I don't get a lot of weeds on the tee boxes. I don't really need to worry about it. But we're going to mix in 1 bag of weed and feed of the Menards variety because of the active ingredients here, 2,4-D and dicamba. and we're going to mix that with 1 bag of the Estate. So we're going to start that first, and then that last bag of weed and feed we're going to use for some of these lawn areas here. Excuse me. And hopefully take care of some of these weed issues that we have and the irregular growth that I have going along the edges of the property. Now we're doing some bunker raking, just some of the basics of the day. And, this doesn't take very long, about 35 minutes start to finish. And then after this, we gotta run inside quick, take care of some stuff, and then we have to backlap that grains mower and see how it is, see what the damage was. This is a bumpy job here, but glad we're done with the fertilizing. That took a little bit longer than